Alright people, welcome back. We've come a long way with our weather app and it's finally time to deploy to Heroku. But just before we do that, I have some changes here I have to commit for our front end, so I'll just put a message that says completed front end and commit, and also git push to push our local repository to our GitHub repository. Perfect, and I'll just clear the console just to clean things up a bit. So now we need to start by making some changes to our backend to ensure that the front end and back end will play nicely together in the Heroku environment. So we have our package.json file open here, the main one in the root of our project, and we need to add a couple of scripts that will be executed when we push our code to Heroku. So the first one is going to be the start script, and this script is called by Heroku whenever we need to start our server process. So we're going to call node server, similarly to the server script that we have up here, but we don't need nodemon since that's more of a development tool. We just want to start our main server file that has our Express app in there. And finally, we need to add another one called Heroku post build. And as you can probably see by the name, this script is called after Heroku builds the app. So what this command is going to do is it's going to change to our client folder where all of our React files can be found, and then directly after that, subsequently, it's going to call npm install to install all of the dependencies, and then after that we're going to call npm run build, and this is a specific React script that will convert our app into static web files. So it's just how you build the React app for production. So we'll save that, and now because our React app will be built into static web files, we need to serve these static files through our Express server. So to make these changes, we want to open up our main server index.js file. So just looking over here, and we want to add some code that says if we're running in a production environment, then we want to serve our static React files through our Express app. So if we make some space and create a condition here that uses the env constant that we initialized earlier, and if we check if that's equal to production, this is going to create an if statement to run some code if we are in fact in production for our app. So if we find that we're in a production environment, then we want to take some actions. So we're going to register some middleware here using a couple of app.use method calls. So the first one, app.use express.static, and then passing in a path.join, which is going to combine two different arguments that we pass to it. So if we do double underscore dir name, that's going to be the current directory that we're in, and then joining with this other path which goes to the parent, so // client and build, and this is going to be the directory where all those static React files can be found. So essentially what this statement ensures is that we serve static files that are in this client build folder, and we just need one more app.use statement which acts as a bit of a failsafe. So app.use and then passing in the standard middleware callback with the request and response parameters leading into the function body, and we type response res.sendFile and then path.join. First argument is going to be __ dir name for the current folder, and then The second argument is going to be back to the parent directory again, going to client, and then build, and then inside the build folder, index.html. So this statement just means that if all else fails, we want to serve the static index.html file, which acts as the root of our React app. So awesome. We've made the necessary adjustments to our backend, and now we're ready to push our code to the Heroku cloud platform. So I'm going to expand our terminal at the bottom here a bit more, and you're going to want to make sure that you have that Heroku CLI command line interface installed, as I showed in the first part of the tutorial. And if you don't, you're going to want to pause here and go and make sure you have that installed, because we're going to need that for pushing our code. So the first thing you're going to want to do is use Heroku Login. Now I've logged in before, so it probably remembers my email. Yes, it does. If it doesn't, then just enter that for your Heroku account. And then for you're going to want to enter your password. And we can see I successfully logged in. And now we need to create a new Heroku app. So we do this by running Heroku create. And then for the name of the app, this is going to be part of the URL that's going to be used to access your app as well. So let's try to make it something a little unique. So we'll do weather dash app, and then you can put in your initials. I'll put in mine, BSP, and then you can also add 2018. So not the nicest URL, but it'll make sure it's unique and available so it can be opened via the web. So we run that by hitting enter. And we can see it's been created successfully. So if you get if you receive a message here that the name has already been taken, just change the name slightly to make it something more unique, and try again. And next, we need to create a Postgres instance in the cloud so that our app can store and access data. So we do that by running Heroku add-ons create, and then we enter Heroku dash Postgres QL hobby dev. This is the level of usage that we're going to be using. This is just the free instance of Postgres, and then dash name is equal to we can call it weatherdb, and enter. You can see that that's running. And there we go. We can see that it's been created, and it has a database URL environment variable. So this is going to be passed in when we run our app. So that's great. And now we just need to ensure that our app can communicate with the Postgres instance, both existing in the cloud. So we do that by running Heroku add-ons attach. And we'll write the name of that database that we just created, so weather-db, and then the app that we want to connect it with, so dash app is equal to weather app BSP 2018. This will just be the name of your app that you specified a few minutes ago, and enter. So we can see that they're attached, and it's also restarted the app to make the changes. So now we have this empty Postgres database that's sitting there ready to go. So the only other thing we have to do to initialize the database is actually create our cities table. So if we run the command Heroku pg PSQL separated by a colon, then we do dash app, and enter our app name once again. Mine is weather-app-bsp-2018. Enter. This is going to actually bring us into the Postgres command line for our database that we can run queries on remotely. So now if we enter the query, this will be the same one that we entered in the Postgres manager previously. So create table cities, and then a open bracket, And if we hit enter, we need to actually put a semicolon to run the statement. So we can actually press enter and continue writing our command on the next line down. So we continue on and we write ID, which is a serial type. Set that to not null in capitals, comma, go down to the next line. City underscore name, which is a character type, and it's varying, the size of 50, and set that also to be not null, comma, and then we go down and we call the primary key and set that to be the ID column, and then we go down one more time, close our bracket, and this time make sure we put a semicolon and then hit enter. And we can see this little message that says create table was put here, so that means that our query ran successfully. And now we can quit Postgres by doing a \q and hit enter. And finally, the moment we've all been waiting for, we can deploy our code to Heroku. So let's just clear our console here. And first, we need to commit our changes that we made to our backend, and we're going to enter a commit message. So we'll just say updated backend for deployment, and we'll hit enter. And while we're doing that, we're going to run git push. So now our GitHub repository has been updated with the latest version of our code. And then we're going to continue on and run git push Heroku master. I'll hit enter on this, and it's going to run for a little while. It's going to give us a bunch of messages about how it's building our app. And so through Git, we're pushing our code from our local machine to a repo that's running in our cloud account. So on top of pushing this code, it's installing all the packages we need and running all of the scripts that we set up to initialize the processes. And just to mention, whenever you make changes to your app and want to deploy the latest version, all you need to do is commit whatever changes you've made and then run this git push Heroku master command again, and the latest version will be transferred, built, and started. And lastly, we need to start our app by running Heroku ps:/scale web equals 1. So this is these are the dynos, and because we're just running a free instance of our app, it's just the first level web 1 for free. And there we go, we have a message that says that it's running. So if we run Heroku open, this is just going to launch our browser with the URL where our app is running on Heroku. So it's going to open a browser window, and let's just put that to the side next to our code. Oh, there we are, and we can see that our app is running in Heroku. So the name of your app will be shown in the URL here at the top, and let's just test it to make sure it works. So we have no cities have been added yet, so let's add Montreal, add the city. It's now in our drop down list. We pick Montreal, and there's the current weather for Montreal. Fantastic. Congratulations, we've reached the end. You've developed a full stack React app. It's been a long road, and I hope you're proud of yourself. I just want to reiterate that while we went over a ton of core concepts and it's a great start, this is just a very simple app, and we didn't verify that bugs or any other concerns exist in our project. So if you want to take a deeper dive into React and creating web apps, I just encourage you to continue learning and keep practicing by building things. You could improve this weather app and add more features to it. Better yet, if you have your own idea, take what you've learned, go crazy, and start that project. I'd just like to finish by saying thank you for spending the time, and if you've enjoyed this tutorial, please subscribe and consider sharing it with your friends or coworkers. Have a great day.